Hi, good evening. Welcome back to my channel, Teacher Romel, and this is your teacher, Romel, and I would like to give you some insights regarding how to pass the board exam. Now, board exam for teachers. Now, a lot of you are, planning to take the board, and some of you wants to become a teacher, and I would be happy to help you out with that. But before I start, I would like to shout out to Janelle, my student, and also my students in grade 9 in Dr. Cecilio Potong National High School. And tonight, I'm very excited to help you out with that, on how to pass, on the tips regarding how to pass the board exam. So without further ado, let me go first to the first tip. Now, before I go to the tips, I would like to give some information I would like to give you some overview that to pass the board exam, what you really need to do is to really, do the three important things. That is review, review, and review. So the best thing that you really have to do to pass the board is to increase your stock knowledge. So you should not only rely on, let's say, your wits and your analytic skills. You also really have to be diligent in reading books, in studying. So especially, reading review materials and do some drills, especially in mathematics. So the first tip that I would like to share, but by the way, also the thing is, there are a lot of students who told me that they reviewed a lot and they prepared a lot, but they still failed. Now, that is because some students are not able to follow certain strategies. So that is where I come into the picture. So this tip is focused on helping you guys how to strategize, how to prepare for the exam. So I just give the review thing on your end, so that is your responsibility. So I assume that by giving this tip, I assume that you do study and you do your work, okay? So I would not anymore deal with the details of the subjects or the information. So this is more of strategizing, or tips for strategizing for the board exam. All right. So the first thing that you have to do is to budget your time. So before the exam, or say 6 months before the exam, you really have to prepare ahead of time. So the first thing that you have to do is that you need to allocate more time to the subjects that you find very difficult. And then you have to study first the subjects that are easier for you, because once the exam is near, the adrenaline rush increases and you start cramming. So that's the time that you have to study the difficult ones. So that's for me, okay? So if you say, for example, the exam will still, there's still 6 months before the exam, right? So the first month, so you can study English, because for me, I find English as an easy subject. Then the second month, you also have to review on science. And then the third and the fourth, you can review for math. Okay. So, and also for 5 and 6, you can review for Filipino. So I am a Cebuano speaking, so I find Filipino a little bit challenging subject or language, to be honest, okay? So that's it. Then that's how I did study, and that's how I prepared. So I budget my time. So the next thing that I would like to give tip is that the exam is a sprint. So remember that the exam will only is only in just one day. So the exam is a sprint. So you have to consider that you really have to prepare physically and mentally. So you have to be ready on that day. So what you need to do, if the exam is so near, you have to stop reviewing for at least 2 to 3 days before the exam. Okay, so when the exam is coming to, it's very near, so for at least 2 to 3 days you should stop reviewing. So that is to avoid stress, to avoid tension. So you need to meditate, you need to prepare physically, mentally. You have to pray hard 3 days before the exam. So, and during the exam, while you're taking the exam, you have to avoid oily foods. Okay, avoid oily foods and fatty foods, and also avoid sugars. Okay, all right. So what you need to do is to eat healthy foods, food for the brain. All right, so what you need to do is to eat fish, especially fish or tuna. Okay, and also you need also to rehydrate. Alrighty, so those are the things that you need to consume, you need to eat during the exam. Now, the next thing that I would like to share to you is that during the exam you should avoid stalling on a question. Or you should avoid wasting your time or lagging on a question. All right, so if you see that a question is very difficult, do not waste your time focusing on that question. What you need to do is to skip on that question first and answer the questions that you find easy. And once you answer easy questions, follow your gut feeling. So if you find that the answer it immediately, so that you'll have extra time for the difficult questions. Now, after you're done answering the difficult questions, now you go back to the hard ones and use the remaining time wisely. So that is a very important tip that I would like to share during the exam. And so finally, when you're now taking the exam, most examinees fail because they don't read the questions carefully. So read the questions, read instructions and questions carefully. Okay, so when I took the exam, I really read the questions carefully, and when I shaded the circle, I shaded it carefully. So I avoided destroying the paper or the questionnaire, because chances are if you mess with the paper and if it's so dirty, the machine would not recognize your paper, and that is the reason why some students fail. Some students don't make it. So those are the essential questions. Those are the essential tips that you have to remember. So number one, again, the review. So you need to budget your time. Budget time. Second, holistic preparation. Holistic preparation. Body, mind, and spirit. You need also to pray. Then third, you need to avoid stalling. Okay. And finally, fourth, read. Read questions carefully and read instructions carefully. So those are the strategy that I would like you to do, to make it to the board exam or to the licensure examination. Now, the best thing also that I would like to share is that when you take the board, prayer is also a good way to pass the board exam, because you need inspiration and divine illumination or divine guidance, as we may say. And so I pray and I hope that you pass the board exam, so that hopefully you could be, you could work in the school. We could be together in the public school. And if you reach this far, thank you so much. And if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you learned something from me. And that's all for tonight. And thank you for watching, and you do have a great day. Bye-bye.